When I first met Maya, it felt like the universe had tilted in my favor. We were introduced at a friend's birthday party, a crowded rooftop gathering where the skyline shimmered behind her like a painting. She was magnetic, confident but not loud, warm without being too familiar. I was immediately drawn in. Within 6 months, we were living together in a small but cozy apartment on the east side of the city. For almost 4 years, Maya was my world. We shared inside jokes, made weekend brunches a ritual, and took spontaneous road trips just to escape routine. She had this way of making the mundane feel magical until the magic began to fade. Slowly at first. Subtle. It began with the silence. She used to hum while brushing her teeth, tap her fingers on the counter while waiting for coffee to brew. But suddenly, the soundtrack of our mornings disappeared. She started sleeping with her back turned to me, muttering, "Just tired," whenever I asked what was wrong. At first, I chalked it up to work stress. She'd recently taken on a new project at the marketing firm, which demanded long hours and weekend presentations. But then came the phone habits. Maya had never been secretive. We often tossed each other our phones if we were busy and needed something looked up. Now, her phone was practically glued to her hand. She started taking calls in the hallway, the shower, even stepping out to get air when texts came through. I noticed how her voice softened, how her laughter felt more private than shared. It wasn't just distance, it was evasion. One evening, while she was in the shower, a notification flashed across her screen. "Can't stop thinking about last night." R. My stomach dropped. I didn't touch the phone, didn't unlock it. I didn't need to. The message burned into my brain like a brand. I sat on the couch, heart pounding, trying to convince myself it was nothing. A friend. A joke. A wrong number. Anything but the obvious. When she came out, wrapped in a towel and glowing from the steam, she leaned in to kiss me on the cheek. I froze, barely managing a smile. She didn't notice. Or she pretended not to. Over the next few weeks, my mind became a storm of speculation. I started noticing more details. Unfamiliar cologne on her clothes when she got home late. Receipts in her purse from restaurants we never visited together. An overnight trip she claimed was a company wellness retreat, but came back with no photos, no swag, and no stories. I confided in Chris, my best friend since college, who didn't sugarcoat things. "Man, you need to stop giving her the benefit of the doubt. That message? The secrecy? Something's going on. You don't need proof to trust your gut." But I wanted proof. Needed it. Not just to confront her, but to believe it myself. Maya wasn't just my girlfriend. She was my future. I had a ring hidden at the back of my closet, nestled in a sock. I'd picked it out 6 months ago, certain. Now, I wasn't sure of anything. I started paying closer attention. Her work emails sometimes popped up on our shared iPad when I forgot to sign out. One caught my eye, an Uber receipt from 11:30 p.m. on a Friday. She claimed she was in bed by 10. Destination: a hotel downtown. Not the hotel her company usually used for events. I said nothing that night. Just watched her sleep, her body curled away from mine. My chest felt tight, not from anger, but from a deep, hollow ache. The kind that comes from realizing the person you love might be a stranger, wearing a familiar face. Then one afternoon, while organizing files on our home computer, I stumbled across a PDF she had forgotten to delete, a scanned receipt from a boutique hotel. 2 names on the check-in record. Hers and someone named Ryan M. I stared at the screen, unmoving. The name was unfamiliar, but the implications were not. Still, I didn't yell, didn't demand answers. Instead, I printed the receipt, folded it carefully, and slid it into the inside pocket of my jacket. Because I had decided then, if Maya was lying to me, I wasn't going to break. I was going to uncover the truth, not for revenge, but for closure. But I never expected the next step to come from his side. I kept the printed receipt tucked away, like a loaded weapon. For days, I walked around with it burning in my pocket, unsure when, or if, I'd use it. Every time Maya smiled at me, every time she leaned in for a kiss, I felt a sharp internal flinch. My silence grew heavier with each passing hour, not out of fear, but calculation. I needed more. One evening, after she left for what she called a team dinner, I sat down at her laptop. It was a risk, but I had reached the point where dignity mattered less than truth. The password was the same it had always been, our anniversary date, ironically. Within minutes, I found what I'd feared and more, a hidden folder buried in cloud backups. Inside, screenshots of flirty messages, photos from hotel balconies, and dinner selfies featuring the same man, a clean-cut guy with sharp features and a too-familiar watch. One photo was geotagged with a resort we'd once talked about visiting together. His name was Ryan Matthews. There it was, 2 years of betrayal documented in digital clarity. Romantic weekends, late-night chats, secret rendezvous that stretched back farther than I had even suspected. My hands trembled as I clicked through. I wasn't just looking at infidelity. I was staring at a parallel life Maya had crafted alongside mine. In the background of one photo, I noticed a child's toy on a patio table. A sippy cup. Curious, I searched Ryan's name on social media. A few clicks led me to his profile, private, but his wife's wasn't. Lena Matthews. Her page was public, filled with images of a young couple with a toddler, all smiles and filtered sunsets. Ryan wasn't just someone's fling. He was someone's husband and father. The moral line blurred in front of me. Was it right to drag someone else into this wreckage? To expose pain that didn't directly belong to me? But then I remembered that Lena was already in this wreckage. She just didn't know it yet. We were standing in the same storm, separated only by silence. I messaged her. It was short and measured. Hi, Lena. I know this is strange, but I think we need to talk. It's about our partners. I have proof. I'm not here to hurt you, only to tell you the truth. Jake. She responded within hours. We met the next afternoon at a cafe near the Riverwalk. Lena was composed but wary, eyes scanning me as if trying to assess whether I was cruel or crazy. I handed her a folder containing printed screenshots, copies of Maya's messages, hotel bills, photos. She flipped through slowly. Her hands shook only once. She didn't cry. I knew something was wrong, she said quietly. He used to be different. Present. Lately, he's just vacant. I asked if there was someone else. He lied. I've been living with a lie for 2 years, I admitted. And I think I'm done being passive about it. We spent an hour cross-referencing timelines, dates, and destinations. It was all too neat, how they'd covered for each other with fabricated business trips and fake emergencies. They had built a system, polished and practiced. What do you want to do? I asked, finally. Lena closed the folder and looked up. Her voice was clear. Expose them, but smartly. No yelling, no drama, just the truth with receipts. A plan began to form between us, unspoken at first, then sharpened by mutual resolve. We would each invite our partners to a dinner under the guise of reconnecting, just the 4 of us. A normal evening. No suspicions. And once they were seated, once the wine had been poured and the small talk exhausted, we'd reveal the truth. Every message, every booking confirmation, every photo. They've had their secrets, Lena said. Let's give them a dose of clarity. As we left the cafe, I watched her walk away, shoulders squared, head high. She was a stranger just hours before, and now she was my unlikely ally. Back at home that night, Maya curled into me on the couch, humming to a playlist she once made for us. I felt her warmth and remembered how deeply I used to love her. But it wasn't love anymore. Not really. It was a memory of love. And memories I had learned could lie. The restaurant was quiet on weeknights, the kind of place chosen for privacy rather than flair. We booked a table in the far corner, intimate enough to feel disarming, public enough to ensure no chaos would unfold. Lena and I arrived early, keeping our distance until it was time. Maya arrived first, dressed in soft blue and smiling like nothing was wrong. Ryan followed 5 minutes later, his tie slightly loosened, eyes narrowing in confusion the moment he spotted both of us. Then his gaze shifted to Lena. She didn't say a word, just gestured to the empty seat beside her. Maya glanced at me with a nervous laugh. This is unexpected. I smiled. That's the point. The silence between the four of us felt like a held breath. Then Lena pulled out the folder and slid it across the table to Ryan. "Open it," she said. He hesitated, then obeyed. Page after page of their shared deception stared back at him. The color drained from his face. Maya watched, her expression faltering as she leaned over to see. It took a moment before recognition hit her. The air shifted. Maya turned to me. "You went through my things?" "No," I replied calmly. "I went through our things. And I found the truth you left rotting in the corner." She swallowed hard, her charm unraveling. "Jake, let's talk privately. Please." "There's nothing private about 2 years of betrayal," I said, voice steady. "You made a choice. Over and over again." Ryan looked like he wanted to disappear. Lena, however, was composed, measured. "You told me you were working late. I stayed up with a sick baby while you were in hotel rooms." He finally spoke. "Lena, I didn't mean for it to happen this way." Her lips curled slightly. But it did. And it kept happening. There was no shouting. No melodrama. Just the brutal weight of truth pressing down on the table like a stone slab. For a while, no one spoke. The only sound was the quiet clinking of cutlery from distant tables and the faint hum of a jazz track playing overhead. Maya broke first. "I didn't know how to end it. I thought I loved you, but then, Ryan, it got complicated." "Complicated is forgetting your anniversary," I said. This was deliberate. She blinked away tears. "So what now? You just leave me?" I stood. "I already did. You just didn't notice." Lena folded the folder closed and stood beside me. "I'll be in touch with a lawyer," she told Ryan. "I've already packed a bag for me and Ellie." He didn't fight her. He didn't even look up. Maya remained seated, watching me with hollow eyes. "Is there any part of you that still loves me?" I paused. "There's a part of me that loved who I thought you were, but not who you chose to be." And with that, Lena and I walked out. Outside, the air was cool, and the night sky felt wider than it had in months. We said very little. The moment had drained us both. At the corner, we stopped. I looked at her. This woman I never knew until pain gave us a reason to meet.
"Thank you," I said,
"For standing beside me through this." She nodded. Sometimes, the only way to take back your power is to show them what they gave up. We parted ways quietly. Back home, I gathered Maya's things into boxes, not out of spite, but necessity. I didn't rage or destroy. I simply reclaimed my space, one drawer at a time. The apartment felt different, less haunted, less warped by silence. I slept that night for the first time in weeks, really slept. In the weeks that followed, Maya reached out. Apologies, promises, regrets. I read them all and responded to none. Closure didn't come from her. It came from truth. From facing the hardest version of love, the one that demands you walk away to preserve your dignity. Healing didn't arrive like a revelation. It crept in through routine. Coffee in the morning without that second cup. Music without memories. A growing stillness in my mind that was no longer filled with doubt. I wasn't bitter. I was free. And that was enough.